This week's work is on health inequalities. We finished looking at wealth inequalities last week. The other big inequality that we're going to look at is health inequalities. I'm going to try something a little bit differently this time using a program called Loom. I don't know, we'll see how it works. Let me know how you feel about it. If you prefer to just have the full screen videos, we can very easily go back to that. So, what are health inequalities? Well, health inequality is really quite a broad term. It's used to describe the differences in health between people. So whether people are unhealthy or healthy. Now, obviously, that's a very subjective term. What does healthy mean? So we need to kind of break it down a little bit. But essentially, in this course, we're thinking of overall health rather than a specific condition or a disease. And in general, there are three major types of health inequalities in the UK. The first is the inequality between richer and poorer people. That makes sense, right? We know that rich people tend to be much healthier than poorer people. Incidence of heart disease, that means how often something happens. So the incidence, how often something happens of heart disease, of infant mortality, and of cancer are all higher among what we call lower social classes than higher ones. You'll need to cast your mind back to the work we did right back at the start of the year about social classes, but that idea that higher social classes are more kind of working in more managerial areas, in more what we used to call white-collar jobs, lower social classes working in more kind of manual labour, but also working in lower-paid kind of jobs, shelf stacking, that kind of thing. Now, obviously, it's a bit pejorative to call them higher and lower social classes, but those are the terms that we use in modern studies, which isn't great, to be perfectly honest with you. But we know that these incidences of heart disease, infant mortality, and cancer are all higher among lower social classes than higher ones. Poorer people tend to get more diseases and tend to be more unhealthy. In fact, the only condition that richer people are more likely to suffer from than poorer people is skin cancer, because they can afford to go on holiday and get a suntan. There is also a big inequality between older and younger people. So older people tend to be less healthy. We know that as your body kind of breaks down, we tend to become less healthy. And actually, 80-year-olds report feeling twice as unhealthy as 18-year-olds. So you're at the peak of health, and I am a poor, decrepit person. Let's figure it out. Finally, there's a big inequality between different areas of the country. Some areas, often we think poorer ones, have much worse health outcomes than others. So where there are more people with lower incomes in lower social classes, we tend to find poorer health outcomes. The average person born in Edinburgh experiences 10 more years of healthy life than the average person born in Glasgow. That's insane. 10 years more of healthy life. That's not just of life overall, it's actually being healthy. Obviously, there are lots of factors that lead towards health inequalities. This week, we're going to be thinking about collectivist factors, so factors based around how society causes this inequality in health. Those factors are going to be looking at bigger picture kind of things. Next week, we're going to look at individualist factors, as you might expect.